Hey, I'm back. Uh, I just wanted to jump in here. I prefer to do live videos than recorded. I don't know something about recording. So I'm here to talk about. I want to talk about why the Some Nerve transaction is important. And I understand it's this Some North Woods brewery that mostly y'all probably haven't been to. My first visit there was a couple weeks ago. So for full disclosure, Bill is a part of the Badger Beer Report team. He is part of Bill Roof is the owner or was the owner of was part owner of um Sumner Brewing with his wife Jessica. They have sold is the story, and they're in the middle of a transition to the new owners. I wanted to jump on here because I wanted to make sure I wanted to talk to y'all about how I feel that this is an important transaction, even if it's just Northwoods, even if it was one of our smallest breweries in the area. It was the brewery that probably employs the least amount of people too. And so they were really, really small. And they are still going to be really, really small. And run by a two-man crew, it sounds like. So the details are on badgerbeerreport.com. So head over there. You can get all the details about who the new owner is and all that. I will address a little bit of that here, but I just wanted to talk about how I feel it's important um, for the landscape of the craft beer, and it's actually a transaction that I would love to see. I would love this to be a trend. So let's start with the number one point that I have here today is that we've seen too many great tiny nano breweries close, where when entirely the when the or I'm sorry when the original founders hit retirement age or get burnt out, they just lock the doors because finding a buyer who understands the culture and the brew house is brutally tough. Um, is it who there's been a bunch of high profile smaller breweries that have they cannot find an owner. We have Viking Brew Pub now. We have Brown House up north. They're looking for buyers. We have uh Bare Bones looking for a buyer. And so the thing is though is that they some nerve was able to sell. And the transition is exactly what I want to see. Instead of seeing the brand evaporating, Bill and Jessica found local lifers who took the choice, who took the torch. The community does not lose its gathering place. It does not lose its revenue stream from that business. And the state does not lose an established brand. So another thing that's happening here is that Joe and Andrea, I'm sorry, and Ad- Ad- Adrea, Araya, Adrea are keeping. I'm sorry about the name. I'm I'm getting. I'm so bad with names as I get older. The fact that Joe and Adria, how about that? Are keeping the name exactly, keeping the names. They're keeping the brewery name. They're keeping the recipes. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar will live on, and it's a massive win for consumer confidence, but it's also a massive win for the regulars who like those beers and who are familiar with that space. And too often, a new buyer comes in and completely scraps the identity and builds their own, concept from scratch, alienating some regulars for sure. Keeping the classics flowing while slowly developing new recipes down the road, to me, is the smartest way to do this. It's the most approachable way, and it is just, uh, I feel it's, especially in an area like this, it's the way to go. So we got number three here. My number 3 point is Joe Ross just isn't Joe Ross just isn't an enthusiastic home brewer trying to buy a retirement hobby. He is working down the road. He's been working down the road to Rocky Reef in Woodruff, Minocqua area. So he knows exactly what it takes to brew commercial volumes for the Northwoods palate. You're taking a beloved nano operation and handing it to a seasoned pro who already knows the local scene in and out. I mean, this is great. I mean, this is a best case scenario for that, for everything. This is great. So yeah, and then so before I get out of here, I just wanted to explain one thing too, that Bill and Jessica wrote in our piece is that they had to they had to destroy the remaining beer on the 24th due to state licensing laws. So the Wisconsin three-tier system laws mean that you can't transfer untaxed finished volume over to a completely new LLC holder overnight, y'all. Can't do that. It is a logistical headache, but it also highlights how dedicated the roofs are. They're spending the next 2 weeks standing side by side with Joe and I keep wanting to put an end there, Adrea, to help them rebrew and restock the tanks from scratch. So when Some Nerve opens, they're absolutely going to have the same beers that y'all love when they close, like the same ones. So, and it's going to be a quick. It should be 2 weeks. I can't speak to why it's a 2 weeks, even though I do. Bill and Jessica, I talk to them numerous times a day. I can't. I'm not going to speak to the 2 weeks, but it takes some time to brew, of course, and to get those in the fermenters. And then there's going to be some some appearance changes in the brewery, of course. But again, the main aesthetic, the main beers, the location, everything is going to be the same. The two people behind the bar are going to be looking, you know, different. They're different people, but some nerve is going to be the same thing. So I just wanted to get on here and let y'all know. I'm not the same thing, but slightly different. Not anything that is going to be world breaking, and any kind of changes sound like from the press release and what I talked to Bill. It sounds like uh, let's see here. Let me get you out of here. Uh, so yeah. Uh, Summing up, some nerve. 2 weeks, 2 weeks are going to be the same, basically the same some nerve that you've come to ground to love for the past 7 years, 8 years, and it's in Manitowoc Waters, Wisconsin, and we are happy for Bill and Jessica. We are happy for the Manitowoc community that they keep their brewery. We're happy for Wisconsin brewers just in general because we've seen what 9 closings this year. And this easily could have been another one because Jessica and Bill were for respect, they were done. It was their time. They did their thing, and now they've been able to hand it off. And again, I'm summing it up. This is why some nerve transaction, albeit a very small transaction in the big grand things, because again, we just got done talking to Grant Pauly, who's on the other, and he's a top three. His three sheeps is top three now in production, and we probably have some there, which is probably bottom five of production or something like that, right? But this is an important transaction because we want this trend to continue where we find buyers. Lastly, shout out to Last Ditch Brew Pub who did this. They were our noggin, and then they flipped the switch. I think it was it a month that they went from Arnoggin to Last Stitch down in Kenosha, and they did that flip too. So these flips are possible. And then of course, shout out to Mobcraft and St. Francis class of 25 collaboration. Then they just came back. But someone had to, we had a time where we didn't have Mobcraft or we didn't have St. Francis. It was years for St. Francis. It was about a couple years. It was what, a year-ish for Mobcraft. But it was years for St. Francis, and it took years for them to come back, right? So this is why 2 weeks is great, and they'll be able to be kicking up right during the tourist time, which is obviously already started. So yeah, shout out to Last Stitch. I'm sorry, shout out to Last Stitch, but shout out to Sumner Brewing here in Manitowoc Waters for hopefully a clean transaction. I think there's still I's and T's to be dotted, but there's enough for us to make an announcement today. And we're just this is again a transaction that we like to see here in Wisconsin and everywhere for that matter. And I'm gonna leave y'all with stay local, drink social, drink local, stay social. It all works. Cheers.